All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you are in this beautiful world. Welcome to our Tuesday morning Inner Circle Live session. I'm your host, Ryan Carthage. Hope everybody is doing well today. Sorry about that. We're going to dive in. So as always, let's turn off all distractions, prepare your minds and your bodies to engage as you guys always do. And for the courtesy of everybody on the call, please ensure that your mic is muted if you're not actively asking a question or making a comment. All right. So we're going to dive in. We had some news come out last night, coming out of the Reserve Bank of Australia. We'll take a look at what happened there. We will take a look at from a fundamental perspective, what we got coming up later on this week. It's going to be a pretty busy and potentially volatile week. So got a lot to dive into. So with that being said, if everybody could drop me one in the chat, if you can hear me okay. Beautiful. All right. Now, let's take a look real quick at trade and economics. Not going to go through everything on here, but coming out of Germany, factory orders dropped 1.1% month over month in July after a downwardly revised 0.03 fall in June. And it's worse than the market forecast, right? So that's something to pay attention to coming out of the Euro area. But the big news from yesterday is, or early this morning on the East Coast, Reserve Bank of Australia raised the cash rate by 50 basis points to 2.35% during its September 22 meeting, as expected. All right, the move followed a 50 basis point hike each in the prior 3 months, 25 in May, bringing the cash rate to a level not seen since January 2015. The board said it was seeking to bring inflation down to 2 to 3% range while keeping the economy, this is important verbiage here, while keeping the economy on even keel. Policymakers reiterated that they expect to increase interest rates further over the months ahead, but it is not on a preset path, as the size and timing will be guided by incoming data. Right? Key verbiage here. The central bank reaffirms its commitment to doing what's necessary to ensure prices return to the target range while paying attention to any signs of deterioration in global economic growth due to monetary tightening in many countries. The war in Ukraine, the anti-COVID measures in China, and other policy challenges coming out of China. The committee increased interest rate on exchange settled balances by 50 basis points as well to 2.25%. So key verbiage here, while keeping the economy on even keel. That's different than Fed Chair Powell's verbiage, right? Fed Chair Powell said, we're going to do what's necessary, period, right? And it may be painful, okay? So they're increasing interest rates, and they have been increasing interest rates. However, their stance overall is if things start to deteriorate, they could slow down or stop or reverse, right? Other key verbiage here is they reaffirm their commitment to doing what's necessary to ensure prices in the target range, paying attention to signs of deterioration of global economic growth. Again, reiterating this statement here, right? If they see signs of deterioration, we could see a stop, a pause, a reversal in their interest rate hikes, right? Or decrease. So yes, they increased. However, their verbiage in their statement was dovish, right? So keep that in mind. Okay, so when you're looking at your Aussie pairs and what happened or what could potentially continue to happen, right? That's key verbiage there. All right, so that's it from a trading economics perspective. Over to Forex Factory. So today we have ISM Services PMI coming out for the dollar at 10 o'clock. That could cause some volatility there. GDP quarter over quarter tonight for the Aussie. Could also give us a little bit more volatility. But then going into tomorrow, we have the monetary report hearings, not the rate statement coming out of the Bank of England. So, but this could cause, depending on what's stated, could cause some movement for pounds. But tomorrow, the big number here is 10 o'clock, the Bank of Canada rate statement, right? Bank of Canada rate statement. So that could obviously move those Canadian dollar pairs in one direction or another. Then we also have Governor Lowe speaking out of Australia tomorrow night, Eastern time. And then Thursday, we got the Euro, the ECB interest rate, right, at 8:15. Important information. Then we got Fed Chair Powell speaking at 9:10. Okay, so Wednesday, Thursday, excuse me, it's going to be interesting. Could give us a lot of volatility. Okay, so we want to pay attention to the Euro pairs, Canadian dollar pairs, where they are, if they're coming into key levels, see what's happening and see what happens after these statements occur to see if they give us, right, some opportunities to enter some trades after the data comes out, right? So that's it from a fundamental perspective. Are there any questions?
I have one, Ryan. Morning.
Good morning.
Morning. When you say like it could give us a lot of volatility, does that mean you see the markets go up and down?
Yes, ma'am. Right.
Oh.
So more money being exchanged, more moves happening. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So it could, when you hear Benny talk about us needing a catalyst for the market to move in one direction or another,
Yeah.
these are events that could be that catalyst to push the market in one direction or the other.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay, yep. I understand. Thank you.
You're welcome. JC, good morning. What's up?
Hey, Ryan, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. So with the news with the Aussie, so I sold a position with the Aussie New Zealand, but with the news, it sounds like it could possibly go up. And then with the GDP, it looks like there's a forecast for an increase. So would that suggest that it could be a push up instead of a push down now with the new fundamentals?
So with that rate statement, it was actually dovish, right?
Okay.
Because they're saying that, yeah, we're doing this, but if things change, we could pause.
Okay.
Right. So you'll see like the Aussie dollar push down. The only one that really pushed to the upside was the Aussie yen. Even the Aussie Canadian dollar pushed to the downside, right? In favor of the counter currencies. So it was a pretty dovish statement. And those details are what the investors are looking at, right? Yeah, the number happened. It came out as expected. They increased it, but what's their thought process behind what they're doing now and what they could be doing in the future, right? And that was a dovish stance, right? Meaning, hey, we might pause this thing. We might stop. We might reverse. We might slow down if things start to change, if we see any signs of things changing, right?
Okay.
Now, this GDP number, it could cause, because you had some of these pairs make some decent pushes down, like the New Zealand starting to pull back, right? You had price push down, you have some consolidation, and now you're getting a retracement. So that GDP number could maybe bring this back to retest this monthly level that we broke back below, right? If it comes in above. But if it comes in under forecast, right? If it comes in under forecast, we could see this thing continue to press to the downside.
Okay.
Right? Make sense?
Yep. Thanks.
Okay. You're welcome. Any other questions? No. All right. Cool deal. Since we're here, right? Aussie, New Zealand, right? We've been talking about this one for a minute. So from a daily time frame perspective, we broke back below this monthly level, right? Pushed up to this, create a new swing high on the daily. And we said, when we get to this monthly level, we want to see, do we stay above or do we break back below? And we broke back below, right? Tried to push back up and stay above, but we couldn't close back above and we're now below, right? So now we're pressing to the downside and we're retracing. So looking to see, right, from a daily time frame, do we get another push up to retest that monthly level and then continue down? Okay. If we break back above, we could be in somewhat of a range here. But as long as we stay below this monthly level, I'm looking short, at least back to this cluster here of support, right? But I'd love for price to get back down to this 382 level on the daily time frame. Okay. Then when you bounce back out to the weekly time frame, you see, right, this strong pushback down, that strong pushback down. So missed a level there, but that's what I'm looking for, is for price to continue to the downside, coming back down to these support levels, and then we'll see how the market responds from there. So if we go to the 4, we see, right, on the 4 we did get that 382 retracement, right, but we weren't able to push to the D extension. Okay, so now we're making this reversal. So this is why I say if we stay below that level, you can see this a little more clearly here. We're just moving sideways right now, right? We could push up if we stay below this monthly level, right? Serving as that resistance, right? That's why I'm looking for price to continue to the downside from here, as long as it stays below this monthly level. Now, if it breaks back above that level, we could be in for price to move back to the upside. Okay. Here on the 1, right, more the same. We got a 618 retracement on the 1, matching the extension is here, right? So all signs currently are pointing to the downside for this pair. So that's what I'm looking for, is that continuation there.
Ryan, could I just ask a quick question?
Yeah, talk to me.
Okay, and it's very odd, but I have always wondered this. So I haven't really started trading yet.
Mhm.
So how could I, if I've not traded, how would I enter a sell? I wouldn't have anything to sell. So how could I, like, I've always wondered that. Like, I understand I can buy, but how could I possibly sell when I don't have anything?
So you're not physically taking possession of any of these assets.
Oh,
Right? There's no physical exchange.
okay.
It's all digital. So there's money being exchanged on both sides digitally.
Mhm,
So whenever you place a sell order, there's
mhm.
going to be a buy order on the other side from someone at some point. It's
Oh.
essentially how it works out. So it's all digital. You're not physically taking possession of anything.
Oh, okay. All
Right.
right. Okay.
And looking at the sell positions, right? You sell, someone else is buying, the market moves in your favor, right?
Mhm.
You make the profit from that position moving in one direction or the other.
Oh, okay.
Right. And then vice versa.
Okay.
If it goes against you, right? If you sell and someone is buying and the market moves in an upward direction, right?
Uh-huh.
The person that's buying makes the profit and you take the loss. So the money that you lost now goes to the other side.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. All right. Thank you, Ryan.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Cool deal. All right. This Aussie CAD, right? We said this one is bearish, right? We're looking to the short side on this. Okay. So we come to the daily time frame. We see we got this 618 retracement and we're pushing down, right? And we said we wanted to see if price could break below these daily support levels. Okay. We broke below 1. We're stalling at the second daily support level, right? So we want to see price break below this level and continue to the downside. Right, matching the extension is here, got a ways to go, but that's what we're looking for, is now for price to break this second daily support level. Okay, ahead to the matching the extension, we get here to the 4, right, and we see off of that news, right, this was that spike down, came right to that daily level. Now we're getting a bit of a retracement, and then we'll see if price turns over and continues pressing to the downside. because you see here, right? Price stalled there at that daily support, couldn't close below off of this spike here. And then we got a nice bearish break of this daily support, which held pretty strong in the recent past. Okay. So now looking at a retest and then a potential continuation down. Okay. Those drop to the 1. This is what that looked like on the 1, right? Last week we had this push up to the 618 level, and then we started this breakdown, right? And then this was that push down last night to the downside, okay? Headed to the D extension. So again, this is another scenario where all signs are pointing to the downside, right? Looking at a potential retest and then continuation to the matching D extensions below this level at some point, right? So looking for something like this. Okay. Like so. All right. So that one is moving in the direction that we anticipated. And if you look at it from a cloud perspective, right, you see you got that breakdown, right? This was at midnight last night. Break, retest of the cloud. You got all your confirmations, Kumo twist, TK crossover, Chico span breaking through price, and we're moving down, right? So all the confirmations that we look for were met there, and we're moving, right? So just looking for that to continue to the downside, to the matching D extensions on the daily time frame and on the 4-hour time frame. Okay. Any questions on the Aussie CAD? That's moving as expected. For these Aussies, I'm just reviewing relatively quickly, just so we can understand where things are from that perspective. Look at the Aussie dollar, and then I look at the Aussie yen. The Aussie dollar is also moving as expected, right? So from a daily time frame perspective, 618 retracement, and we said we're looking down. We're bullish on dollar pairs, right? So this is moving in favor of the dollar to the downside. We broke below that daily level, came back, retested it, gave us a crown pattern there, which you'll see on the 4-hour, and now we're pressing down, right? So looking for a break of this weekly level at some point, potentially getting to this D extension here at 64389. Okay, so it's moving in the direction as anticipated. So we get to the 4, right? And this is that crown pattern. This is that crown pattern here. Okay. So crown pattern is playing out, right? The extension off of this pattern is here at this weekly support, right? And then we'll look to see if we get a break in continuation lower. Okay. But moving as anticipated to the downside, again, that push last night is right here. Then move to the downside. Okay. And on the 1, now we could, because this broke below that support, right? We could potentially see, right? We could potentially see, we'll see how the market, the New York session opens. But on the 1-hour time frame, we're sitting in this 80-20 zone here. Okay. On that push down, it pushed into the 118-127 zone on the 1-hour fib. So we could still be in for, right, as we talked about, we could be in for a retracement to occur. Okay. So keep your eyes on this for a potential reversal and a retracement to occur before price turns over and continues down. Okay. So just watch that here, right? Just watch that here. We'll take a look at the dollar in a second. But we could see that because the dollar is also trying to pull back just a little bit. Okay. So we'll keep our eyes peeled on this one as we move through the day today. And if we get dollar retracement, because we do have that PMI data, that could be a catalyst to move this one back to the upside before turning over and continuing down. Okay, so just keep your eyes peeled there. Bradley, what's up?
Hey, good morning, Ryan.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing well, doing well. Thank you.
Would you be able to show me where you started the fib on your 1 hour?
On the 1 hour. Yep,
Yeah.
right here.
71,300-ish. Okay,
Yep.
cool.
Cool.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. So those that look to play the retracements, right? Keep your eyes on this one. Wait for your confirmations. Okay. Here on the 15, looking at it from a cloud perspective, right? We got price moving sideways. You got some spikes up, but we're back below the cloud. So if this turns over and presses back above the cloud and gives us all of our confirmations, right? Look for that opportunity to buy that back to the upside, right? Another way you can look at it is here on the 1, right? And you can drop your cloud on the 1 hour and you can wait for those confirmations here on the 1. You see how the cloud is just moving sideways right now, right? You got your single span A just moving sideways, and you got your Tkinson and your Kijisen just moving sideways through price, right? So that's consolidation. So if we break back above this, right, and get all of our confirmations along with the Kumo twist, right, we could be in for that retracement to happen. Okay. So be patient on it and allow the market to tell you what it's going to do, but just keep your eyes on this pair for potential retracement opportunity in the short term. Okay. Any questions there?
Hi, Ryan. Good morning.
Good morning, Kiki.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I like the trend lines. Could you please put a trend line on
Yeah.
to see if
On the 1?
on the 1 hour to see
See how you broke back below this trend line here, right?
sorry.
That'd be your outer trend line. And so you just, because it's moving sideways, right? You just adjust that to the outermost point.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
Right. So
So
you
we
see
looking
here.
for trend line break.
Yep. Looking for the trend line break. Exactly. Right.
Thank you so
And
much.
if you wanted to be more aggressive on the 15, you could drop it in the trend line as well. But I like this for you here, right? Especially the cloud gives you another visual to see that, right? You got the price moving sideways here. So that break of the trend line would also push you above that resistance level also, right? So that would be some additional confirmation. But yeah. That's it.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Any other questions on this Aussie dollar? Nope. All right, cool deal. Aussie yen. This Aussie yen is pressing. So we'll come to the weekly real quick. So from weekly time frame perspective, we're pushing back up to this monthly resistance level, right? Pushing back to this monthly resistance level. So we want to see, do we get back there and what happens when we do, right? Do we get price to turn over and start to press down at that point, or does price continue higher? Now, we all know, and you've heard us talk about quite a bit, right? The Bank of Japan hasn't changed its stance in any way, shape, or form, right? So everything is running against the yen. So scenario where I wouldn't rush anything, right? Allow price to continue to run to the upside. And then once we get some firm confirmations of a reversal, then we can take a look at opportunities. So here on the on the daily, right, you got a 382 retracement. This is a daily resistance, right? And we're just pressing to the upside. So if we break above this level, don't be surprised. Allow price to do its thing and see if it breaks this monthly level, which once we get there, if it does not, that'll be a double top scenario, right? Which you could then look to potentially play if we get confirmation to the downside. But I wouldn't be surprised if this breaks through this level and continues to press higher, right? Just because the Bank of Japan is not looking to change anything at this point, right? And their economic data hasn't been very strong. So looking for things to continue to run against the yen. So just allow that to do what it's going to do until we get a firm confirmation of things changing. Okay. Those are dropped to the 4. You see the 4-hour D extension. You got a 618 retracement. So the matching D extension is here at the 1618 extension, which is right in line with that monthly resistance level. So we're getting some confirmation that this could be a level to keep our eyes on. Okay. Confirmation that could be a level to keep our eyes on for potential reaction. Right. So we'll watch price as it does its dance and see what happens when it gets there. Okay. And as we drop to the 1, you get some additional confirmation on the 1-hour time frame of the same thing, D extension in that same zone. So we got 2 levels, right? Where we have D extensions at the monthly resistance, and on that daily time frame, you're in your 118, 127 zone, which we see a lot of reactions occur, right? So we got a little bit of confirmation that we could see price continue to push higher. And then once we get there, we'll monitor to see if we get the confirmations necessary for reversal opportunity, right? New AB boundary, look for our cloud breaks and trend line breaks. Okay. That's the look on the 15. Right. So nothing doing right now. I'm just letting you guys know, watch for this monthly level there. Okay. Questions on the Aussie yen? No. Sweet. All right. The Aussie Swiss is still doing its dance. Okay. We pushed down to this daily support level, but it's still just sideways. So there's, in my opinion, nothing happening here worth really going into any depth on. It's just sideways. If you want to play the range on this, you could. The Swiss things have been running against the Swiss also. But it's just in this tight range, and it doesn't interest me much. Right? It's 100 pips to the upside to the top of the range. If you wanted to play that, you potentially could. But there, in my opinion, there are better opportunities out here than this Aussie Swiss at the moment. Okay. So the Aussie Swiss is just moving sideways. Just moving sideways. Questions on that? Nope. Sweet. All right, let's take a look at the dollar real quick, because we didn't look at it when we popped in. So the dollar, this is what we got here, right? And this is on the 4-hour time frame. AB boundary, we were trying to press down last night, right? And we broke above this weekly level previously, right? Weren't able to close below. We got a D extension hit, so a new AB boundary formed. We're trying to press down last night, but things turned over and started pressing back to the upside. So what I'm looking to see on this is if we get a retracement out of the dollar, excuse me, if we get a retracement out of the dollar, right? We looked at that the Aussie dollar. We said we could be in for potential retracement there, right? Your euro dollar, your pound dollar, those are trying to make a move also. So if we stay below this daily level, right, and price turns back over and presses down and breaks below this weekly level, we could be in for that retracement, right? So excuse me. So this is, I would like to see this retracement happen to give us some good selling opportunities on the dollar later on, right? On the Aussie dollar, on the euro dollar, and on the pound dollar, and even on the dollar CAD for the buying opportunity. So this is what I really would like to see on the dollar. We'll see if it happens, but we got a new AB boundary and we're sitting at some key levels, right? When we have monetary policy coming out for a couple currencies, right? One being the euro and this dollar index, right? It's the dollar pegged against multiple currencies, right? Heavily weighted by the euro. I think it's like 40 or 45%, right? So with that euro, with the ECB coming out with the rate statement on Thursday, right? We could see this retracement occur, right? So that's what I'm looking to see. And if we get that, we'll have some moves on some of the dollar pairs, including that Aussie dollar as well, right? So we'll see if we break above the B boundary in this daily level, right? We could be headed higher. Okay. So all those if then statements. If price does that, then we'll look at continued shorts on the dollar pairs, right? But if price does turn over and press down and give us a retracement, we'll be looking for those retracement opportunities on the dollar crosses. Okay. Does that make sense? I know we got some newer folks on the call.
Could you just show me where the C would be in this?
Well, that all depends on how deep the retracement goes.
Oh,
Right. So we got to wait for price to make its move to the downside and then turn over. But if you look here on the previous fib, right, this is your A boundary. This is your A.
yes.
That's your B.
Mhm.
Your C is your deepest point in between the AB boundary. All right. That's the definition of the C, the deepest point in between the AB boundary. Our deepest point in between the AB boundary is here.
Oh my God.
That's your C. And then your matching D extension is based off of that deepest point. So your matching D extension would be your 118 extension level, which was there. And then it's your actual D extension, right? Where you get the swing high after that level is achieved. So your first swing high after that level is achieved there. So you got your ABCD wave, right?
Okay.
So remember, the C is the deepest point, deepest point in between the AB boundary. That's what you're looking for.
Okay.
Right. So even if it's here, is that the deepest point in between the AB boundary before price pushes to the matching extension.
And you're looking for, oh, I forget what you called it, but 2 candles to the right, 2 candles to the left? A
Correct.
swing?
So
Okay.
in this scenario, it'd be a swing low,
Swing.
right? And then you're looking for price to push off of that, right? So swing low is 2 candles to the left of the lowest point, 2 candles to the right of the lowest point, right?
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
here, that's your swing low here. 2 candles to the left, 2 candles to the right.
Oh, okay.
Right? And then price push to the upside. And then conversely, swing high is 2 candles to the left, 2 candles to the right that are lower than the highest point.
Okay, thank you, Ryan.
You're welcome. All right, cool deal. So that's the dollar. I want to look at, we looked at the Aussie CAD. Let's take a look at the dollar CAD real quick. Dollar CAD. Let's take this off. Clean this view up a little bit, right? So we came back to this daily resistance level, right? And we're trying to pull back, right? Trying to give us a retracement. Weren't able to push above that level, okay? So kind of a signal. So we'll see if we get a deeper retracement on this, right? Bank of Canada news tomorrow. That could be a catalyst to push this down and give us a retracement here, okay? From a fib perspective, it's super choppy, but making those higher highs and higher lows nonetheless. Right, so there we go there. Okay, so we got a 618 retracement off the daily fib. Right, pulling back a little bit. We'll see if we get a deeper retracement for then price to push to the upside and get to the matching the extension there. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for, and that's what I'd like to see on this one is a little bit of a deeper pullback, and this would be on your lower time frames, 4 hour, 1 hour, right? Deeper pullback into the zone to then move to that higher level. Okay, so that's ultimately what's happening here, right? There's your trend lines to the upside, right? It's on the daily time frame, so we'll leave it there. But do we get a pullback, and then does that give us the momentum to break this daily, weekly cluster here and move to the matching D extension? That's the question, right? So we'll see. We'll see. So it's dropped to the 4. All right. Zoom out. And run our fib there. There we go. Right. So that's our fib on the 4. On the 4, we got a 382 retracement already. We're just pushing sideways. Okay. Sorry about that. I got a new mouse and it's super, super touchy. So I apologize for the zooming in and out. But there we go. Right. So if we do get this retracement, okay, back down into our sweet spot, 618,786, right? That bring us back to this trend line. Okay. Bring us back to this trend line. And then we'll look for that turnover and press back to the upside. Right. And so if that occurs, right, that daily extension, right, which is up here, right, in line with this 4-hour extension as well. Okay. So a 618 retracement would put us in line for this higher level. Okay. So that's what I'd like to see here is a continued retracement. I'd like to see the dollar push back a little bit, right? And also this get a little bit of momentum to the downside with that rate statement news coming tomorrow, right? That's what I'd like to see. We'll see if that happens. But if we get this action, right, and then we get price to stall in this zone, then I'll look for a buying opportunity again, right? Push back to the upside in favor of the dollar. Okay. So that's on the 4. Right. So we'll pull this out. What I want to do is highlight this just so it's easier to find on the 1. Right. That's our low. Okay. All right. So similar look on the 1. Right. So that deep retracement to put you right in line with that trend line. So that's what I like to see there. Okay. It's continued retracement to the downside before looking for another buying opportunity up. Any questions on the dollar CAD? No. All right. Cool deal.
All right.
Good morning. Who is this?
It's Kiki, sorry.
Oh, Kiki. Yep.
Is it okay to run a sub fib from the B down?
Sure, you could to track the retracement. You absolutely could. All right. So that got taken out there. There you go. You got an 8.6 retracement, right? And if that continues to the downside, your matching D extension would be right here, the 118, right? So this one will probably be easier and cleaner to view on the 15, right? So if you drop to your 15 and look at those smaller moves to the downside, it looks something like this. There you go. Just a little cleaner look on that retracement extension piece.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions on this one? All right, cool deal. Let's take a look at this Euro CAD. So I want to take a look at the CAD crosses, right? As we're coming into tomorrow, we'll take a look at, if we have time, some of the Euro crosses as well in preparation for Thursday. So, but popping back out to the daily time frame, right? We know we're sitting in this B boundary zone. Okay, we've talked about this quite a bit. We pop back out to the weekly, right? From a weekly perspective, we're on a 118, 127 zone, right? That's that green box that you see on the daily time frame, okay? I marked it out because this is the key level for us to watch. We got monthly lows, right? Haven't been here since 2015, 2013 for this low, right? So we're in some key areas here, okay? So on this daily time frame, we got this new AB boundary. And we're trying to see if we're able to start to make these higher pushes. Okay. So we made this push back to the upside, right? Still in this range that we haven't been able to break out of. We got a nice retracement coming back to retest the trend line, right? And this monthly level that we broke back above. So now the question is, do we stay above and start to make a press back to the upside? We know we got the Canadian news tomorrow. We got the Euro news on Thursday. So we could see some back and forth happen here, okay? We could see with the Canadian news, price push down, right? And then depending on how the ECB comes out, if they do come out hawkish with a 75 basis point increase, we could see that. Give us a double bottom scenario, right? Be a nice thing to occur. We'll see. We'll see. But that's potentially what we could see. But we're hovering right now at this monthly level that we broke back above. Okay. So we get to the 4. We get to the 4, and we're in this 118, 127 zone, right? Off of a shallow retracement. So we got 80-20 on the weekly, 80-20 on the 4, a new AB boundary or a B boundary on the daily, right? So we got a ton of things that are kind of sitting in our favor here. Okay. Price pushed up and it gave us this retracement and we're hovering now. So we could be in for one more push to the downside here. The reason I say that is we got a little bit of a head and shoulder action here on this reversal. Okay. Here. Right. Broke back. Oops. Broke down, came back to retest that neckline, and now we're pressing down. So we could be in for a little bit of a deeper retracement. This would be just a small sub-fib, smaller wave, but we could come back to this second monthly support level. Okay. That's what I'm looking for, to be honest with you. I want this deeper move so I can add to the position that I already have, right? And then I'd love to see this double bottom type look, right? So we'll see if we get this last push down to give us that deeper move there, okay? Or if we continue to stall at this monthly level. The news tomorrow could be an indicator for us, okay? But keep your eyes on this. And if we get this push back down here and price stalls out and starts to move sideways, we'll start to look for those retracements back to the upside, okay? So we get down to the 1 hour and we see, so here, this is that look a little more closely, right? On the 1, fibs running to the upside. You see this head and shoulders pattern there, right? That D extension is down here at your A boundary, okay? Which served as resistance. This is that zone of resistance, right? Support there. So we could push back down to that support level. That's potential, okay? So I want us to keep our eyes on this one for another press to the downside. And then we'll look for, right, running the sub fib on the 1, you get the same thing, right? The extension in line with that support level. So once we get this push down, then we'll look to see if we get a reversal back to the upside, okay? So keep your eyes on that one throughout the day today and into tomorrow to see if we get that action. Questions? No? Cool deal. Cool deal. This pound CAD. We've been watching this for a while, right? So on the weekly time frame, we were looking at a reversal earlier on this, and we didn't get it, right? Came back, we talked about it on Saturday. You run your fib on the weekly time frame, and you see the matching D extension is down here below this all-time low, right? Which makes sense as price continues to push to the downside. So we could see price make it to this all-time low level, right? Before it's all said and done, okay? We got a 50% retracement there, right? So that makes sense why this thing is pushing to the downside. So we get to the daily time frame and we see we got a D extension achieved and we continue to press lower, right? We're trying to turn around here, trying to create a low of some sort, right? But we're just retesting this level that we broke through, okay? Nice strong breakdown, come back and retest. So I'm looking for this to continue down. to at least get to this all-time low level before we get a reaction, if we get a reaction, right? Which would make sense with the news coming out of Canada tomorrow, right? We could see that reaction and that push to the downside. Okay, so keep your eyes on that as we move into tomorrow, to see if we're able to get that. So here on the 4, you zoom out, you got a 382 retracement, right? And here we start to get some confirmation, right? We got a 382 retracement. Matching the extension is in line with this monthly support level. Okay, so starting to align a little bit. And if we bring this back, right? If we bring this back to this weekly, no, never mind. Scratch that. Yeah, it's in line. It's in line with this all-time low level. Okay. So that's what I'm looking for, is that last push to the downside, like so. Okay. And then we'll see how the market responds there. We could get a battle back and forth and some consolidation before we see any sort of reversal occur, which would be okay, right? We'll get our swing lows and such. We drop to the 1, right? And do I have a fib on this coming down? There we go. On the 1, right? This also makes sense. Okay, 618 retracement. The extension is here, right? Puts you down into that zone. Okay, put you down into that zone. Now, looking at it from a cloud perspective, you did get a break above the cloud, but you're stalling here at this monthly level. Okay, as a retest. So, excuse me. So, somebody got a question? So the retest, and I'm looking for this thing to continue to the downside there. Okay. Looking for that to continue to the downside. All right. So ultimately that's what it is. Right. Down move. Down move. Okay. Any questions here on this? All right. If you run your trend lines that look like that. Like so. So you're hovering at your trend line right now. You're in a trend line on the 1. Right? Could get that rejection and continues to the downside. Okay. No questions. Cool deal. Cool deal. All right. Then the CAD yen, it's running. It's running, right? Go to the weekly time frame. We've been sitting watching this, right? And we said shallow retracement of 118 and 127 zone. We could be in for a reversal. It didn't happen, right? We got to push down, but didn't give us that full retracement that we're looking for. Now you see prices pushing to the upside in a strong way. Like I said, everything running on the yen, right? Price pushing to the upside in a strong way. Looks like it's tracking to get to this D extension of 109, 759 on the weekly time frame, right? So we zoom out and we come back, right? Come all the way back. We got some levels here, right? That's a swing high there. We'll drop that in. We got another level up here, like so. All right, so we got these swing highs sitting in play as price continues to track higher. Now, right, that swing high is a weekly level, is in line with the D extension, right? So that now makes a little bit more sense. We got a level of resistance there matching the extension. So things are starting to come into alignment, right? Pushing to the upside. So we want to see, right? Does this get up here and stall and give us a retracement, or does it continue to press higher as well? All right. But we're tracking to another key level, right? So as we track down to the time frames, the extension on the daily time frame is also in line with that weekly level, right? So your higher time frames, again, coming into alignment, right? Weekly, daily, the extensions in line with a weekly resistance level, right? We could see a reaction, even if it's short term, we could see a reaction there, okay? So want to allow this to press, right? Allow it to get to the D extension, this weekly level, and then we'll see if we get a reaction, even if it is just a short-term retracement, just some profit-taking action that occurs, okay? That'll give us 100 pips, couple hundred pips potentially on a pullback to the downside, okay? So that's what I'm looking for, is this continued press to the upside, and then we'll see if we get a reversal once we get to the D extension and the weekly resistance level. Okay, so as you drop to the 4, look at it from a 4-hour perspective. Okay. We got 50% retracement here. Matching D extension is higher. Okay, matching D extension is higher. So that's okay too. We'll see how the market responds at this weekly level first. If it breaks through, then we can say, okay, we're tracking to the matching D extension. If it stays below, right, we'll look for a retracement to occur. And even if we get into a range, right, but we get a retracement, that range is 200 pips from this weekly level to this monthly resistance level that we're breaking through right now, right? So that would be a range play that I'd be open to play, right? Just to push back to the downside to get back to that level, 200 pip move. And then if we get a reversal and a push back higher to play the range, it's another 200 pips to the upside. That's something you could play on the lower time frames, right? More niche. Give you that opportunity there. Okay. So something that I'm keeping my eye on is once we get to that weekly level. Okay. And as we get down to the 1, we got a new AB boundary on the 1 hour. Oops. We got a new AB boundary here on the 1 hour, right? D extension in line with that weekly level. Okay. So if we don't get this retracement here, which we very well could not, right? This thing could just continue to ride to the upside. I'm okay with it. And I want to see what happens here. Even if we get a retracement and then a push higher, I'm going to allow it to run, right? I'm going to allow it to run until it exhausts, until it gives me some firm confirmation that we're going to reverse. I'd like it to be at that level. We have confirmation on multiple levels, the extensions being hit weekly, daily, and here on the 1. So that's what I'm looking for on this one. Is originally I was looking for this push to the downside, but we may not get that, to be honest with you, right? With that rate statement coming tomorrow out of the Bank of Canada, right? We could see this give a shallow retracement, and then we could see it give a shallow retracement and then continue running to the upside. Okay, so that's the CAD in. As we prepare our minds and our charts for tomorrow, look for this to continue to run to the upside. Okay, questions there? No? All right, cool deal. And this CAD Swiss, it's still ranging, right? It's at the top of the range now. We got on the daily time frame, we got a 38.2 retracement, right? It's double bottom there. And then we've just been ranging sideways here, not able to get to that D extension. The Swiss hasn't fared well as of late, and things are pushing to the upside against the Swiss. So we could see this one continue to ride to the upside, right? Just looking for buying opportunities on this to continue to move to the upside. But talked about it over the weekend. That's what it's been doing, right? That's what it's been doing. So here on the 4, we did get a 50% retracement, but we've just been hovering in this range here between this daily resistance and daily support. Easier pairs to trade, so be aware of that. But we're looking for this ultimately to continue pressing to the upside in favor of the Canadian dollar here. It's because things have been pushing against the Swiss as well. Okay, but easier pairs to trade than this one, so you can stay away from it and allow it to continue to press until we get something convincing in one direction or the other. That's my overall opinion. Questions on the CAD Swiss? We're just looking for CAD strength out of that with the rate statement coming tomorrow. No, Mary got that right. Yeah. Definitely easier pairs out there. All right, we'll end it on the New Zealand CAD. New Zealand CAD. Take that out. Coming into a key level. All right. Come back to the daily. There we go. All right. Haven't gotten a 382 just yet, right? Came just shy there. And we're pressing to the downside. Okay. Got a new daily resistance here. And a daily level there. All right. So potential double bottom action here, right? Coming into some key levels down here, right? So the news tomorrow, we'll see what happens. Both of these are commodity currencies. So you're seeing this kind of range action happening. So we want to see, right? Do we press lower and get to some of these lower levels and this lower monthly support? Or do we stay in this range and ultimately start to break back to the upside at some point? Okay. So that's ultimately what I'm looking for, is trend line breaking a move to the upside at some point, right? Could come after tomorrow, right? That's your trend line there. We'll get some more on the 4-hour, but just looking to see what happens here, right? You got two commodity currencies kind of bouncing back and forth, okay? So as we get to the 4, whoops. We'll do this to the 4. Zoom out. Okay. This is our fib on the 4. Okay. Came just shy of a 786 retracement and we pressed down. Are we able to break out of this and continue down to the matching D extension? Now, that matching D extension is the 1618 extension, which is quite a ways away. So those if then statements you even talk about all the time, right? If price breaks down below that level and then retraces and holds, we could look for that continuation lower, right? Now, if price stays at this level, comes down and retests that level and rejects off of it and gives us a strong trend line break, we could be in to see that reversal happen at that point, right? So we're all waiting to see how the market ultimately responds as it gets to these lower levels. Okay, that's what I want to see, right? And those are my if-then statements off of this, and it'll be the same on the 1-hour time frame as well. But here on the 1, what we have the opportunity to do is run our fib from the top to the bottom off of this last leg. Right, let's move to the downside here. Okay, so here, kind of in line, right? We got a 618 retracement. The matching D extension is here at this monthly support level, right? So do we push down, get to the D extension in reverse, or do we push down, retest, and continue moving, right? So that's how that goes together and how it kind of makes sense. Okay, does that make sense to you guys? You got a question, JC?
Hey, Ryan, could you explain that the lower daily level you just put in, that lowest one?
Let me go back. My bad. I didn't mean to put this level here. Did I add that? That might have been an error. I thought I added one here and here. I thought that was an old one. That shouldn't be there.
So is it one a little bit below that? Yeah, like right there.
That is. Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Yes. That is a resistance level there.
Okay.
Yep. 2 to the left, 2 to the right. Yep, you're correct. Thank you for that.
No problem.
Yep. Okay. Appreciate you. There we go. Okay. So we're staying below, right? And how does the market respond at this monthly level is what we're looking to see. Okay. How does it respond at that level? All right. Questions on this New Zealand CAD? No? Questions on anything that we covered this morning? No? Cool beans. So, Ben will be back with us tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Asian session. We look forward to seeing you guys. Look, new folks, welcome. Welcome. We got a couple new people on the call. So we welcome you. Welcome you to the family, right? It's folks that have been with us a while. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but this is going to be a different experience than you've experienced before, right? Strongly suggest showing up to these sessions and then going back and diving into the training. The training is going to break each of these pieces down into its individual parts, right? So go through the training in the order in which it's placed in your back office, session by session, and watch the session multiple times until you get it, right? You're going to have questions, right? Not if you have questions, but you will have questions. Bring those questions to these live sessions, and we can answer them for you in live action, right? It's extremely important that you go through that training. Extremely important, right? And it's also extremely important that you do the homework, right? And you ask questions. This thing takes time to learn. You won't get it in a day. You won't get it in a week. It takes time, right? In some cases, you got to unlearn and relearn. In some cases, you got to learn something completely new that you've never seen before, like riding a bike and walking, right? They're new skills. So approach it as such. Give yourself time and give yourself grace, right? You're going to make mistakes. Those mistakes are learning opportunities for us. They're not bad in any way, shape, or form. Mistakes give you an opportunity to learn and grow. So press into those, right? Press into those and ask the questions to then get the clarity, right? And we can help you then grow and springboard from there. But if you try to be perfect and you try to do all these things to not make mistakes, it's going to be difficult for you, right? Dive in and make the mistakes so that we can then learn and grow and expand and really springboard. And that's where people talk about accelerating the growth and accelerating the learning. That acceleration happens when you make mistakes. It doesn't happen when you're perfect, right? The definition that we use the world as perfect, right? People probably get tired of me saying this, but I don't believe perfection exists, right? Because we're all going to see the world differently. So if it doesn't exist, then let's take what we can get and let's make progress as we move through this journey, right? As we move through this journey. So we welcome you. Glad to have you. And we look forward to seeing you on the next session. Ben to be with us 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Asian session. You guys have an awesome, awesome, awesome Tuesday. We'll see you tonight. Peace.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.